How you doing, everyone? Zaymot here again, and today we're going to add Chillshot to my small world. Okay, so let's take a look at Chillshot here. And Chillshot was originally part of the Eagle Force Kickstarter that Fresh Monkey Fiction did. I believe this one was in 2019, at least it says so on the back of the package. When the actual Kickstarter happened, I'm not 100% sure. I missed out on it. I was late to the party, but obviously at this stage, everyone knows I'm all in. So here we have his packaging, and this is collector friendly. You can see there's tabs here that you can go ahead and open up to slide the cardboard out. I'll give you a demonstration of that in a minute. At the top here, we have Eagle Force. We also have versus R.I.O.T, which they do in order to designate the bad guys on the front of the packaging. R.I.O.T is an acronym that stands for the Roving International Organization of Tyranny. And here we have Chillshot in all of his glorious goodness. Flipping around to the back here, you have a little bit of a write-up on the character. If you want to pause the video and go ahead and read that. And then down here at the bottom, you have a cross-sell showing all of Series 6, Sergeant Blackstone, Low Tide, High Tide, Chillshot, our boy, Crosshairs, The Hidden, Joseph Brody, who is another homage figure, and Stryker, which is a aged-up version of the original character from the first Eagle Run line of action figures back in the 80s. So let's take a look at this guy. Let's get him out of the package. Now you have a variety of different ways you can do this. You can do it from either side, top or bottom. I myself prefer to do it from this side, closest to the action figure. And slide the cardboard out. It keeps the packaging intact. And then you can see we've got the character in his little tray and a baggie just filled with accessories. So let's get these out and let's take a look at what we actually got. Now that we have Chillshot and all of his gear unpacked, all I can say is, holy shit, that's a lot of stuff. And we're going to talk about that stuff. But first I want to give you an explanation as to why it's there to begin with, because I think an explanation is warranted. Fresh Monkey Fiction, for those of you who don't already know this, is an independent toy manufacturer. They make a small quantity of action figures of a very niche toy line, in this case, Eagle Force. Now, when you go and have anything produced in the manufacturing world, you go to a factory and you say, I want you to produce this. And they say, okay, great, we'll make that for you, but in order for us to do that, you need to guarantee that you're going to purchase this many from us to have that produced. And they call it the MOQ, or the minimum order quantity. So when you meet the minimum order quantity, that is the highest price point that that toy is going to cost you to make. The more you order over the MOQ, the cheaper each individual piece costs to produce. Okay? Now, because this is a niche toy line produced by an independent toy manufacturer, the runs are very small on a regular basis. So that means that they're paying a higher dollar amount to have the figures produced, and that cost translates directly to the consumer. Now, the guy behind Eagle Force and Fresh Monkey Fiction is a guy named Bill Murphy. Now, Bill understood this early on and decided that what he was going to do is, in order to combat the higher price point, to make the figure still more attractive and make the customer feeling that they were getting the most value for their money, he includes a boatload of accessories with his action figures. Now, some of them have less than others, but the ones that have less accessories are typically, new molds, so that price point goes up, or they have better paint apps or something of that nature. There's always a trade-off with this, right? But the vast majority of the figures come with a plethora of accessories. All of them come with a variety of hands for expressive posing, whether you're doing action figure photography or just putting them up on a shelf. So let's talk about these real briefly, and then we'll get back to Fresh Monkey Fiction and their story a little bit later. Okay? So taking a look at what we've got here on the table, we can see that we've got a wide variety, as I said, of hands. Now, straight out of the package, Chillshot comes with two trigger finger hands, left and right, both of which have a vertical hinge. Now, the figure also comes with another set of hands that have cut-off fingered gloves on them. These are the trigger finger hands, and like the ones that are mounted to the figure, they are on a vertical hinge. Okay? We also have both bare and gloved versions of this gesturing hand that is on a horizontal hinge. We have both bare and gloved versions of the C-grip hands that are on a vertical hinge. And we have both bare and gloved versions of the fist hands, which are on a horizontal hinge. The figure also comes with two different head sculpts, in addition to the one that's mounted to the figure now. We have this black-haired head sculpt with these white eyes. Little Grand Admiral Thrawn looking for me, but you know what? That's perfectly fine. Dude's supposed to be a clone, and he's, named Chillshot, so chill, blue, I get it. And then the figure also comes with this helmeted head. Same idea, blue skin, black helmet with some goggles on there. More nameless, faceless legions for the riot forces. And with these combined, you can create a wide variety of different figures. So if you army build somebody like this, then they're not all going to look the same. Because let's face it, we don't want our troops to all look the same, right? The figure also comes with a variety of weapons and accessories. This here is his rifle, and I'm sorry, I'm not a gun expert, but I am going ahead and going to learn the names of each one of these guns so that I can give you the better option, so you can compare them to the real-world variants if they exist and determine whether or not these things are high enough quality for your collection. So the rifle here is a carbine, I believe. It has a foregrip, has a stock, and has the magazine jutting out. The magazine is not removable, but it has a fair amount of detail. You can see the safety and mag release lever built on the side here. All in all, very well done. The figure also comes with two pistols, the first of which is a very tiny silver pistol. It looks very much, or it reminds me at least, of the Walther PPK that James Bond used in all of the movies when I was a kid growing up. It's done in a nice silver paint job with a black grip. And the figure also comes with, again, what I believe to be a Colt 45, done with a nice silver paint job and black grips. Very well done all in all. I like the weapons. The figure comes with the shoulder holster here, done up in white. It's very soft and malleable, so no worries about it breaking or shattering unless you're stretching it beyond its limits. And it's a very small holster onto it, and that is designed for this smaller pistol here. And the pistol, once you get it inside, fits very snugly. No worries about losing that. So that's very nice. It looks good on the figure as well. The figure also comes with a beret that will fit either of the bear heads, either the bald or the haired head. And if you look really closely, you can see there's a little snowflake that's been printed on there with a black hat band. So this kind of attention to detail that really attracted me to the Eagle Force figures to begin with. And then we have a pair of goggles. Now these you have to be a little bit careful with. The older ones at any rate. The goggles are very nice, done up in a white plastic with black lenses, but you can see if I give it a little bit of pressure, it's not real malleable. And I'm not going to squeeze it too much because unless you heat this up, it's a little bit firm. And I have had some of these from the older figures especially, I have had them break on me. And I mentioned that in the eraser video. The figure also comes with these two black ringlets. Now what these are supposed to be the cuffs of the upper portion of his gloves. Like I said, he comes with, both bare hands and gloved hands. And when you put the gloved hands on, you put these on the bottoms of the forearms at the wrists. And then when you insert the gloved hands, you can push them down a little bit. It gives the illusion that he's actually wearing gloves that come up onto his forearms. Now we come to what I think is the best part of this, okay? You have all of these bits. You have 6 different options. And what these do is you can see the holes in his vest here. These holes are designed to accept these small accessories. You can see there's a small peg on the back. This here is a magazine pouch that holds 3 small magazines, I would assume for the 45 pistol. This one here is 2 magazine pouches with black snaps. And based on the size, I would say this was for his rifle. And again, it has the little plug on the back. You have another holster that is again designed for that smaller scale pistol with a little mushroom plug on the back, little snaps for the pretend harness that holds on, the safety strap that holds the weapon in place when you're on the move. Now this one's a little bit unusual for me because these are supposed to be shotgun shells. Now the figure does not come with a shotgun, although you can take a shotgun from one of the other accessory packs or from one of the other figures, and no problems there. However, these are painted black, and shotgun shells are typically red and brass. So I'm not sure why the decision was made to go ahead and create these in the black, but I don't suppose they have to be shotgun shells. They can be something else. They can be small vials of an elixir that keeps him alive. Who knows? But it's a nice addition either way it goes. And a little bit of paint and a firm, steady hand, and you can correct that and make them whatever color you like. Now, it also comes with this magazine pouch, which is the tiniest of them all, and it has the 2 black snaps. And based on the size, I would say this is for that small PPK-like handgun that goes in the shoulder holster. Okay, and then what is perhaps my favorite accessory of this whole thing, he comes with a teeny tiny cell phone that you can go ahead and you can mount to his vest. And there's even actually some blue writing in there to make it look like he's receiving a message or something like that. I really love these little additions that, help to facilitate the believability of world building when we do these. Okay, so there are all of his accessories. Now let's take a look at the figure himself. Okay, finally we come to Chillshot himself. But before we get into the review of the figure, I need to give you a little bit of a public service announcement. So as you can see, I've taken the liberty of removing the bald head and replacing it with the black-haired head. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you what it looks like with the black helmeted head on the figure, which is my preferred look, and it's how I display mine, because when you remove the head on these earlier run action figures, the one that comes in the package mounted to the figure, it's been on there since the factory put it in the box. So the receiving end of that ball joint in the head has been stretched out a little bit, so it's relatively easy to take off. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the ones that come in the packaging packed in as accessories. These are still in the exact same condition they came from the factory. So getting them on is a trick. And once you get them on, unless you really heat them up, when you try to pull them off, they frequently pull the barbell that's mounted in the torso out with the head. And then you have to heat the head up, then you have to use a pair of needle nose pliers. It's a big pain. So take my advice, before you put the head on the figure, if you replace it with one of the ones that come in as accessories for any of the original run of Eagle Force Kickstarter figures, make sure you heat those heads up so that you can get them on and off easier. This way you don't run into that problem, okay? So let's get a look at Chillshot himself. So the Chillshot figure comes dressed all in solid black with the exception of this white tactical vest. And on his t-shirt, he has what looks like a stylized snowflake, which I really like. It matches the one that's on the beret as well. It's a nice addition. I love that. It's just little things like that. So the vest is made out of a softer, pliable plastic and can be removed really easily. And the holes, as I said here, were designed to receive all of those little accessories, and you can mix and match them however you like to go ahead and get a unique look for each one of your troopers should you choose to army build somebody like this. For articulation, the figure, as I said, has a barbell head, so he can look down about that far, looks up about straight, can do the Linda Blair 360-degree rotation, and has a fair amount of expressiveness going side to side as well, which I really like. The figure's shoulders have a vertical hinge that'll go up about that far, and they are on a 360-degree rotation. The figure's elbows will bend past 90 degrees, which is nice, and is also on a 360-degree rotation. Now, you'll notice on the inside of the left forearm here, the figure has a tampo of what looks like a barcode. Now, that's part of the figure's lore because he is a cloned soldier. He's cloned after one of the descendants of Baron Von Chill. And because of that, each one of them receives a barcode on their forearm to be able to identify them back at home base. So the figure also, as I said earlier, comes with the vertically hinged left and right trigger finger hands. The figure does have a ball jointed waist, very similar to the old school G.I. Joe. You can bend back about that far, bend forward about that far, side to side. And as you play with the figure more, it loosens up and you'll get a little bit more motion out of it. The figure also has barbell hips that allow him to do the splits about that far. Not quite Jean-Claude Van Damme worthy, but good enough for this figure here. Now, because this is an older figure, he does not have the thigh cut at the top of the thigh here, allowing for a thigh rotation, but there's enough space at the ball joint itself to allow for that movement to help with posing. You're not going to cross his legs or anything like that, but still, all in all, it's pretty good. He also has double jointed hinged knees. He has a swivel at the boot cut, dorsiflexation, and ankle pivots. The figure's knee pads are done up in a much shinier black than the pants, so they really stand out, as do the boots. They have a much shinier paint job. And the figure's holster on his right thigh is also made of a softer plastic. So unlike the very first runs, this figure's holster will hold on to the weapon. All in all, I think Chillshot is a very well done figure. It's one that I hope that Fresh Monkey Fiction revisits as part of their Eagle Force Greatest Hits line, which is now available on Big Bad Toy Store for pre-order. Some of the older figures and some of the newer figures that sold out pretty quickly are being re-released, so I encourage you to go check those out. And that's it. That's my review of Chillshot. All in all, I really like this guy. I've been Zaymot. I thank you for watching, and remember, we do not stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So play with your toys.